Hey y'all, it's me, your host, Coach Pilar Arthur Sneed. Thanks so much for joining me here for another episode of The Last 10th. Today, I am super excited to be chatting with Taj Lee on the show. We are going to talk about everything from conversion and to growth and change in sports, in your personal life. We're going to talk about it all. Hopefully, you will be able to garner something from this conversation that will have an impact on your life and help you to also grow and change into the person or athlete that you need to be. Thanks for joining me. Let's get started. Hey y'all, it's me, your host, Coach Pilar Arthur Sneed. Thanks so much for joining me here for another episode of The Last 10th. And you know I'm going to say it, but I am so excited to be here this week with my next guest, Taj Lee, Concrete Rose, as you might know her on Concrete Rose 76, as you might know her on the Instagram. But she is a mom, a triathlete. She's a power lifter and just an inspiration, really an inspiration to me. I am just so excited to have Taj here on the show. So Taj, welcome
Hi.
to the show.
Hi, thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
So I just did, like a really brief introduction of you. If you don't mind telling me a little bit more about you, I would love to hear it.
Well, yeah, I'm from Chicago, born and raised in Chicago, Southside. Did grow up in a two-parent home. I'm the only child. What else is interesting? Got married at 18.
Wow.
That's a whole other story. I got 3 children. My oldest, she's 24.
Wow.
Mostly all those years, from the age, pretty much for a good, a little over 15 years, I was just a stay-at-home mom, working from home, staying at home, put on a significant amount of weight, and that kind of propelled me into the future of where I'm at today. Where just fast forward into 2011, on my birthday, I chose that I need to make a change. So it kind of just transitioned that way over time, as far as health, well, physical wise, and just changing who I was from before.
So, when was your decision that you wanted to make a change? When was the date? Like what year was that?
December 12th, 2011.
Oh, 2011. Okay. Yeah. So you and I, we are both Sagittarius. My birthday.
I love it.
My birthday is December 1st.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. No wonder about it. Okay. I'm with it. I love us.
Yes, me too. Being Sagittarius, we are a special breed of people, I believe.
Yes.
So in 2011, when you were thinking about how you wanted to change your life, like what was the first thing that you either thought about doing or undertaking? Where did you go from?
Well, initially earlier that year, a friend of mine at the time, she was a respiratory therapist, and she wound up having a blood pressure kit that was at her home. So, we was just whatever. And I decided, she was like, you should take your blood pressure, whatever. I took it. And at that time I was pre-hypertensive. I was like, I think early 30s at the time. Yeah. I got my numbers right. Yeah. I was like early 30s.
Yes.
So that was a cause for like concern. And at that time I was like 240 pounds on a 5'2" frame. So the goal was towards the end of the year, she and I was supposed to link up with another Muslim sister who was a certified nutritionist. And she was going to walk us through this process for free for like the first 6 months. But my friend, she bailed out. She claimed she had other obligations, so she didn't do it. So I took on the role. I was like, I'll do it. I'll get with this coach. And the cool thing is, the nutritionist, she lived like maybe 5 minutes away from me. So I was able to just get to her every 2 weeks. I was able to check in with her. And she was the one that gave me that first 6 months of structure, what to eat, what not to eat, suggestions, meal planning, logging your food and focusing on fitness. That's where that journey came from. Yeah. So it started from there.
Excellent.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Excellent. So when did you start running?
I didn't get into running until, I did my first race in 2012, the Color Me Run. You remember that race?
I did. That was actually my first run too. My first run was like, yes.
Oh my gosh.
We have a lot of similarities. It's true.
Oh my gosh. So that was my first race, first 5K.
Yeah.
Fell in love with that. I was like, okay, I'm cool with this little distance. It didn't kill me. And then from there, after that, I was like, okay, let me try something else. There was an 8K turkey trot at the end of that year, 2012. I kind of trained for it a little bit, not much, because I really don't know what I was doing. But that race, all I remember was like 35 degrees. It was cold, and that was a fast 4. I did those 4 miles real quick. So I was impressed with that, but I was like, this is all I'm gonna do. This is enough running distance. But January of 2013, I was called out and was like, oh, Taj, why don't you do let's train to do our first half marathon together in April. I was like, wait a minute, January, February, March, April. I was like, that's not enough time to train. Don't you need like 6 months? And how many miles is that? I was like, oh, no, I know 13 miles. You are tripping. But I trained for it. I did it, trained through the winter and everything. And that's what propelled it. I did my first half marathon was the Flying Pirate that takes place out in the Outer Banks.
Wow.
North Carolina. Yeah. So we traveled out there to do that first race. That was my first race.
Wow. Yeah. And how
after that, I felt, so you know the feeling. After that, I was like, I'm never, ever, ever running that distance again. That felt like death. But I wound up doing, was that Richmond? Yeah, that year I wound up doing Richmond half. The All-American, I think that's what it's called, the All-American full. They cater to the full marathoners. They don't really cater to the half marathoners. Yeah. I hated that race. The course was stupid. There was nothing scenic about it. Virginia don't have nothing. Sorry. Virginia don't have nothing to look at. It's too industrial. And that just kind of just kept me going. And I was like, you know what? I want to do 50 states. And it kind of just propelled into that. But yeah, that's kind of how it started.
Yeah. So like, what's one word that you would use to describe that first half marathon? What would you use to describe it?
Exhausting. Yeah, because I wasn't, at that time, I don't think there weren't any sport hijabs. Yeah, there wasn't. Yeah. So at that time, there weren't any sport hijabs out. So I was just wearing like whatever I could wear, but the material was either making me sweat too much. And in that particular day, it did wind up getting hot, like like mid 70s.
Yes.
Which is like too hot for a runner in a way when the sun is out. We caught the breeze off the water, but that was pretty hot. And I wasn't fully prepared because I trained through the winter.
Yes.
So that coming on from winter training and just going into this warm weather, yeah, that was a challenge.
So
It was exhausting. That's the only thing I could think of was exhausting.
so talk to me a little bit about modesty wear and being a runner, running in modesty garb, and talk to me about all of that and how that um start in your journey and starting out. Did it present any problems for you? Did it present any challenges for you?
Not in the, you mean in as fitness is concerned?
Yeah, just in general, in general, really. I mean, and I guess to back that question up, and if you don't mind me asking, have you always been Muslim?
No, I converted when I was 16.
Wow.
Yeah, so after I seen the Malcolm X movie and read the autobiography, that was kind of it. That was it. See?
I read his autobiography. Actually, I read his autobiography a very, very long time ago. And interestingly enough, we watched the movie that just came out. My husband and I, that was just came out. I cannot remember the name of it right now, but it was
Mhm.
just it was a night. It had himself, Sam Cooke. It was a night,
Mhm.
and they were talking. It's just conversation between
Oh yes, that was
two
on
men.
Amazon Prime.
Yes.
Yes. I
Yes.
just seen that.
So we just watched that and I was like, "Oh, I want to get this, I want to get this book. I want to get the book again and reread the story." But so that's why I have this copy here because my husband bought a copy, I bought a copy, so we have two copies
Oh, dope.
in the house. So I will be giving this book away in February. I'll be giving this book away. But yes, he was very much as I was growing up. I very much felt a deep connection to Malcolm X. I am not Muslim, but
Okay.
at some point in time it is something that I considered. So what was it that really,
Push me over the.
pushed you over the edge to say this is what I want?
Well, growing up, well, for starters, growing up, I had like a weird, interesting parallel life. Like I had half normal, half abnormal.
Mhm.
Um, I had a consistent father that worked, hard worker, um, great dad till this day.
Mhm.
But then on the other end, I had a mother.
Mhm.
Um, for a good portion of my life, starting from maybe when I was in first grade that I can remember, that's when, like during the early 80s, the whole cocaine addiction,
Mhm.
that was like trending. That was like the thing to do. That's
Mhm.
what adults did on the weekends. That was the thing.
Mhm.
So once she got into that, and then it moved to the whole crack era and heroin era, I was kind of wrapped up in that. Like I was, missing days of school because she would have me at a drug house for a couple of days.
Mhm.
I've been in a couple of interesting situations where I would not be here, but it's just,
Sure.
so I lived through both, and for whatever reason, my father just dealt with her up until the age when I turned 16. That's when he moved out.
Mm.
He couldn't take it anymore, whatever. She's not going to go to rehab. That's it.
Sure.
So I was stuck with still living with her. In the midst of that, like about 13 is when I got off into a gang.
Wow.
Because Chicago is pretty, like, it was prominent back then. Gang
Mhm.
activities, being a part of a gang. And I just fell into that lifestyle, being that she already kind of exposed me to that.
Mhm.
Um, so I was running the streets, doing a bunch of crazy stuff up until I turned 15. Um, and at that point, we moved from the upper part of Southside. It was more like Lakeshore Drive. If anybody knows Chicago,
Mhm.
we lived near Lakeshore Drive. Everything was great, but then we moved further south. And in that area, there was Mosque Mariam. That is the one of the largest Nation of Islam mosques. That's like
Mhm.
right there what is that street? South Shore Drive? No, that's not South Shore Drive. The name of that street. I can't remember it now.
No.
But they was off the main street, and we were only like 4 blocks from them.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going to a pizza store with my dad directly across from them. Mm-hmm. And it was on a Sunday. I saw these Black women coming out in white, and the Black men in the suits and the bow tie. Like, it just was this thing. I was like, what is that? You know?
Yes.
But growing up, prior to that, for whatever, my personal thing, I was never attached to the Christian belief. Never, I couldn't understand why I wasn't. I just wasn't. Mm-hmm. And then my mom, she dibble dabbled in various things, so it was just, I just never was attached to it. So once that drew my attention, and the Nation of Islam had lots of respect in Chicago. So like, you know, they would go in the ghettos, they would go in the hood, clean it up. Like, the Nation of Islam had lots of respect there. Mm-hmm. So I kind of knew about them. And that was like during the Public Enemy moment. It was you know, Queen Latifah with the, you know, UNIT, you know, just this thing.
There was a resurgence of sort of like in the 80s of Black pride and claiming your African heritage and lots of people, you know, sort of, you know, taking names that had more more African sounding, etc. And of course Public Enemy coming out. And I remember very distinctly the round medallions that folks had, you know, with the X and all of that. So yes.
So after that, all right. After that, I was like, I want to do that. I want to look into this. And my dad was like, well, you know, you won't be able to do this, and this. Be sure that that's what you really want to do. Mm. I was like, I have to change something, because at that time, I almost got sent to juvenile. Wow. Getting caught up in a situation. So for me, I felt like I needed some type of structure and guidance. Mm. And that's what the Nation of Islam provided. So me ultimately becoming Muslim, I did come through the Nation of Islam first. And then from there, I became kind of similar to Malcolm X's story. Like, he came from this phase, then the Nation of Islam served their purpose, and then he got more enlightenment and then transitioned over to just becoming an Orthodox Muslim. So that was kind of my path. And I actually converted over at 16, at the age of 16. Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Got out the gang and everything at 16.
Wow. That's kind of like a big deal for a young person to make such a huge radical change in their life. Wow. So back to my question, did that pose any challenges for you, you know, from that point going forward, you know, growing up and then just in an ongoing way?
Yeah, kind of did. So when I was still living with my mom, I was going to all-girl Catholic high school.
Yeah, that'll be problematic.
I was in a vocational school.
Yes.
Almost got kicked out of that school. And I wound up getting transferred. Thankfully, that school accepted me. Mm-hmm. She was like, you're not bringing that gang activity to this school, or I'm going to whatever. And you're on probation. I was literally on probation for like 90 days coming into the school. I'm like, okay. So while we were there, what the reason why I was, the whole becoming Muslim, that started from the fact that there wasn't any Black history class at the school that we were going to. It was a predominantly all Black girls' school. I'm like, we got civics history, world history. I mean, we just, everybody else. I'm like, why we don't have Black history class? And she was like, well, in order to get that class, you would need to get the whole student body to sign the petition for us to even consider to get a teacher to come in and teach. Well, I got what I wanted. I got 225 signatures from the school. That was from freshman through senior year. That was the amount of girls that were there.
Wow.
Got my signatures. We got the teacher. And once we got into that class, it was a girl that was like, you do know, she was like, I have a boyfriend whose brother is Muslim, and he believes that white people could be Muslim too. I was like, give me his number, girl. I was like, no, they can't. You know, I was like, give me his number. So, oh my gosh. Yeah. I was, yeah. I was like, no, they can't. I was very still like Farrakhan in the mind, you know, just, you couldn't tell me nothing different. So I'm always up for a challenge. I'm like, give me his number. I need to talk to him. That's not going down, whatever. But he was able to talk to me like in a phone conversation for like a good 4 or 5 days to convince me. I was like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, okay. I didn't know.
So he talked to you for 4 days, 5 days. He just kept
the whole week.
Kept
at it. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And I was like, okay, this makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And just the belief and understanding and the peace, that for me made sense. Mm. My first upheaval is once I did convert over. Mm. I can't wear the rag at the school. That's not a part of the uniform. My dad was called a rag. Like, wow. The whole principal, who's a nun, I'm like, y'all wear habits. I'm not getting this. It's the same thing, just worn slightly different. Yeah, can't wear that. You can't wear your shirt outside your pants. That's not uniform policy. It was like whatever I tried to do that looked modest, it was a problem. So it wound up being this issue where if I can't adhere to the code of the dress, and if I can't adhere to not causing problems in the religion class, because I was getting blamed for debates in the religion classes, even when I wasn't in the class, because other girls would challenge the teacher and question them on certain biblical things, and I was getting blamed for that.
Was it a predominantly white school?
No, the student body was black, but the principal, she was white. Mm-hmm. The vice principal was black, and then everybody else was white, like all of the nuns that run the school. Yeah. So and the teachers was mostly white. Yeah. So
it's just an issue of just your difference was you were religiously different, so you're being persecuted because of your religion. They're like, well, we can't for this.
Yeah.
But we need to find something.
Oh, right. It was like anything I did, it was like something. I'm like, my father was like, what's going on? Because he would get calls and get called up to the school. So I wound up transferring and going to John F. Kennedy High School, finished out from there. But in the midst of that, my mom was harassing me about, like, she would do weird stuff like, the pants that I would wear to school, I couldn't find those. So then I was forced to go to school with the short skirt. It was just like weird stuff. And I was like, I'm not doing this. So that on top of some other things that took place, I wound up just moving out. But that was like the first upheaval. And then thereafter, it wasn't really any problems at all. I haven't really dealt with being confronted with my hijab or having any, like being persecuted or having any hindrance thereafter. No, not really. Not really.
Right. So, but just like in terms of, because you mentioned that in 2013 or so, 2013, that there weren't too many sports hijabs. So in terms of like your running career, how did you deal with finding what you needed to?
The most I was able to do, there were some hijabs that was made out of like this polyester type of material, but that still makes you sweat. But the only thing with that is because the fabric was thin, it still was somewhat breathable.
Sure.
But it wasn't dry wet. That was the only thing I could wear. Everything else is either Georgette fabric, cotton, linen, jersey material, just
Sure.
anything that would be overly sweating.
Sure.
So I couldn't wear that. It was like polyester was like the only thing we had back then.
So you're running this half marathon and you're basically just like
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so hot right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
So
that's not the hottest race. The hottest race was Cleveland, Ohio, that I did in 2018. That was hot, unnecessarily hot.
how hot was it?
The crazy thing is that was in May. The days that because actually me and Latoya, we did the race. We all visit our friend Mary, who is a part of, we all were Skirt Sports ambassadors. And we came to stay with her for the week because she wanted to show us around, and we never been to Cleveland. It was like, okay. The first few days was cool weather, nice. I'm like, okay, do this. Do this little half marathon, get it over with.
That's right.
Literally, the day of the race, it's like humid. Like, I can't even explain the humidity. It was just humid. At 6 in the morning, it's humid. I'm like, no way.
Yes.
Is it hot already? And at that time, I did have a dry wick hijab, but the humidity was that was exhausting. Yeah, like the first 2 miles in, I was like, told Latoya, I was like, I might have to walk some of this because,
this is gonna be a no.
Yeah, it was a lot of salt tabs and mustard and pickle eating that I had to eat. Yeah, mustard. To get me through that, because that was hot. It was hot. I had ice put in my head. Like when we got to mile 11 and 12, it was a neighborhood where neighbors came out and gave us ice or sprayed us down. And that was my first time ever like putting ice cubes. I was just stuffing them up in my scarf. I was like, oh my God, this feels so good.
Yes.
God, that was torturous.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
Yeah, my
goodness.
friend was like, did you bring that North Carolina heat up here? I was like, I think so. She was like, it don't be this warm in May here. I was like, I don't know what's going on. And then, of course, the next day it was nice. I'm like, no. Of course it's crazy weather on race day. Like, of course. And then the day before when we did the 5K, we got rained on. I was like, bro, it's rain. We got rained on 3 miles. It was a 3 mile. Yeah, 2 miles out of the 3 mile race, we got rained on. And then the next day it was hot.
This sounds like not last year, obviously not last year, but 2019 in Chicago. The day before the race in Chicago was like 35. It was like 35 degrees. It was, and wind, you used to live in Chicago, so windy, cold, just cold, 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 cold. The next day, the race it was okay. And then the Monday after the race, it was like just hot, like 75 degrees. It's crazy. Crazy. So you have run your half marathons, you've done all these things, and now you have decided, I've conquered this challenge of running half marathons. What comes next? What do you decide that you would like to do?
Then I gassed myself up to do a full marathon. Oh, why did I do that? Yeah, just like I was like, oh, I want to be an ultra marathoner.
Yes.
In theory, that sounds good, but the training I know is torturous.
Yes.
I'm just not sure if I'm ready for that. But yeah, the next thing was becoming a marathon. I was like, I need that title. I was like, I don't care if I have to crawl to the finish line, which I wound up doing.
Yes.
Practically crawling to the finish line. Like the race director was waiting for me.
What was your first marathon?
I was dead last.
It's all good. What was your first marathon? What was it?
That was the Delaware Running Festival. Oh. But the crazy thing is, my girlfriend, she chose that race because she said, and the description was like flat and fast. So we was like, oh, okay. But I have to realize that here I run trails, we run on elevation. So I've never really trained on flat. Like when you do a beach course, that really does something to your gait versus running in the trails, concrete. Yeah. So for the whole 6 months of training, other than just feeling exhausted and tired and your body hurt or whatever, I didn't have any injuries or no issues with my training. Mm-hmm. But when it came to race day, the crazy thing, when we got there, we seen all these. That race was a Boston qualifier. Okay. So majority of the runners was trying to Boston qualify. Mm. So when me and her standing in, this was in 2016. Me and her standing in the start line, we looking at all these fit people. They got Ironman shirts on. I was like, wait a minute, did you sign up for a race? And we like the slowest people out here. She's like, not. I was like, girl, we about to be dead. They about to be done in 4 hours tops. They gonna be.
We're gonna be here for a minute.
Right. I was like, you know, it's gonna take us like 6-7 hours, right?
We should probably tell somebody. We'll be back later.
Oh my God.
You're gonna want to save some snacks for us. We'll be back later, okay?
Right. Oh my God. Somehow she got ahead of me. And I was able to still see her, but like mile 10, I started having like pain on my left. Is that like the back of my ankle? I don't even know what muscle that is. But like the back of my ankle was like in pain. I was like, dude, I got like 15 more miles to go. There is no. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, God, please.
Yes.
I'm gonna need you right now. I'm gonna need you right now.
Yes.
So one of the, not a shaggy, like that those little cart things that they be driving in to like be behind you because you're dead last. What is that called?
The sweet bus.
Right. So they're like behind me. I'm like, already. I was like, yo, this is mile 12. How I got the sweet bus behind me already? I was like, this is so embarrassing. They was like, you're fine. You got a good time. So they was like, you need anything? I was like, I need mustard. Like now, I knew that at that point I needed salt. Yes. Got that into my system, and I'll just say, yeah, I was dead last. Yes. It felt like all my organs was gonna fall out when I crossed the finish line. Like literally, I was like, it's everything about to. I swear, I felt like I was like, now this I'm not sure I'll ever do again. I was like, organs feeling like it's about to fall out.
This is not so much.
I'm not sure.
I hear you.
So that's almost a one and done. The only one I have my eyes on is the Hawaii, Honolulu, because they give you 24 hours to finish.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Okay. Well. Yeah. All right. I could consider
we got to think about that. I was like, I might do that. You know, turn it into a runcation. You know. We can stop for drinks, walk, take a nap. Yeah, we got 24 hours to get this done. So, that's the only 4 I would consider.
Oh my goodness. However, okay, before I want to sidetrack. I don't want to go too much down a rabbit hole here, but
okay,
you need to talk to me about this mustard thing. I have never heard anybody tell me. I've heard a lot of things, but mustard? What?
Yeah, mustard. I don't know what's going on, but it could be the salt and the vinegar that's in it, but it instantly, if you're about to have cramps, any type of leg cramps, dehydration, mustard is the solver. Like within 10 minutes. It's on the same level as salt tabs. It's the same thing. So salt tabs, mustard and pickle juice.
Yeah, pickle juice. I'm totally pickle juice.
Yeah, pickle juice and mustard is like in the same category of doing the same thing. Yeah.
done that with the pickle juice, but mustard, I have never heard that before.
It like works quickly.
I'm gonna get some mustard packets for my next training and put them in my little
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
See what happens. Okay, so one marathon, that's all you want to do, but now you decide you want to learn how to ride a bike, and
see, I got bullied into that.
you
want to call her out, Mary Catherine.
And you want to be a triathlete.
She tricked me into volunteering. In 2017, here in North Carolina, we have an all women's mini triathlon. So it's not like, it's definitely not on an Ironman level. It's a sprint distance. Okay. She was like, "Oh, you should come out and help volunteer with me, and it might be something interesting." I was like, "Okay, whatever." So I came with her to do the volunteering, but that was her coercing me. Yeah, she tricked me. She's a good friend of mine, but yes. I wind up getting like peer pressured into, you should go ahead and register and you can go ahead and do your first triathlon. I was like, don't know how to ride a bike, don't know how to swim, and have a fear of drowning. I'm like, I'm not sure how any of this gonna work. I was like, okay. She's like, you got it, you can do this. I'll be there, I'll support you, I'll do the race with you, all this and that. I'm like, okay. But yeah, because I always did want to do a triathlon, yes, but just navigating on how I'm gonna learn how to swim and get the biking down, like I was like, I need to figure that out. But thankfully, the Tri for Life group that I wind up training under, they prepared us for the race, and we actually had swimming lessons. You guys should go to swimming lessons twice a week, so you only pay like maybe less than $100 for those 3-4 months. Wow. And you could go. It was all women. We was able to rent out the swimming pool at a middle school. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays was swimming, and I think Wednesdays was bike riding. Yeah. But at that time, I didn't know how to ride a bike. I was like, I'm not going out there with y'all. I'll look like a fool. So actually, my oldest son taught me, and I learned that in like 2 days. Okay, got that down. Didn't feel like a fool anymore. Okay, I got that down.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
The swimming took a lot longer because the pool that we were training in were from 3 feet to 12 feet. So just the anxiety of constantly having to go to the deep end, it's just, it's a lot of mental issues it's a lot with that.
I understand.
But I did get it down enough. You don't?
I don't. And I would like to learn. I would like to learn. Obviously, now we're in COVID-19 time. So now that I've decided that it's something I'd like to do, I can't do it.
Yeah, you should know. You should be able to.
Most of the like gyms and such are closed, and
they closed the pools down.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they probably did, and I don't even think I don't know how comfortable I would feel about that at this point.
Okay, because they did say that swimming was one of the safest sports during the pandemic. Yeah, so pools here were still open.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will look into it.
Yeah, I still want to learn freestyle and just get over this deep end thing, but I did learn enough to finish the race.
That's amazing. And it's not doggy paddling, because that's basically all I can do.
I wanted to do that. I'm like, sure, I can't have the donut in the water. Like, no, you can't.
No, you cannot do that. I'm sorry. Can I just have my swimmies? Pierce me.
Oh God.
So you've completed a triathlon. That's amazing.
Yeah, in 2018. Yep.
That's amazing. And how did you feel after that? How did you feel?
That was exhilarating. Well, my friend was like, okay, the next thing is ultramarathon. I'm like, babe, slow down.
Slow you
down. I'm like, whoa. Still need to wrap my mind around it. But I got invited to even powerlifting. That was something else that I always wanted to compete at least once, just challenge myself with that. And then that opportunity fell in my lap wait a minute, time is moving slow. I mean, time is moving fast. Last summer,
Yes.
I was personally invited to be one of the athletes to be in an all women's competition that's actually going to be there in New York. It's going to be at in Mount Vernon, in Germany. The competition was supposed to be wait a minute, my brain. So it wasn't last year. Yeah, the competition was supposed to be last year. So in 2019 is when I got the invite. Went out my way, got me a coach, everything was training. And then when COVID hit, it just stopped. Mm-hmm. And then our meet got canceled. It was just a lot. And that threw me off like big time. Like,
yes.
COVID really it killed my vibe like bad. It killed my vibe.
Everything up. Yes.
Yeah. And our gyms were closed for like almost 6 months. And all I ever known, for the most part, like when I first started losing weight, I did a lot of work at home videos and did that. But after that, it was like gym. I'm always consistent in the gym. So not having that, and then I fell off with running as consistent as I was wanting because I was trained as a powerlifter. It was like I didn't know where to get my motivation from. I was like, this is crazy. But once they put that back on, now I'm back into that. I at least want to compete that. And then I'll circle back around with this ultra marathon thing. Yes. Oh gosh. She was like, it'd be so cool. You'll be probably the first Muslim sister to do a ultra marathon. So let's do this. Like she's like on me about it. I'm like, okay, Mary.
So how did you overcome this sort of like during COVID time to kind of get back into some semblance of a routine?
The only time I got back into that is when the gyms opened again. It's like,
okay,
like those from April through August, not being able to go anywhere, do anything. All my plans were canceled. Like so much stuff got canceled. I just didn't know how to handle all of that. So it was like literally almost nothing. Here and there. I did something I might have worked out maybe 2 or 3 times a week, every other week type deal, but that was it. I couldn't. Yeah, and then what the state of America during that time, that was like exhausting. It was like extremely. That was just too much. Like last summer was just too much. Like
I agree.
From Ahmaud Arbery to Breonna Taylor, then Rashad Brooks and George Floyd. I'm just like, so that was emotionally draining and depressing, and that just fueled. Yeah, people at work. That was stressful.
How did you channel your energy otherwise?
In that time, what I did was, that's when my advocacy with being more my advocacy of just Black Lives Matter. Like that wound up being like the thing that I was dealing with or putting out on social media the most at that time, because the amount of followers that I have, the type of followers I have, it's quite diverse. I have atheists, Jewish people, Christian, like I have of diverse. A ton of white friends that I have that's following me. So I felt like it was my duty. I'm like, okay, this is the time that we need to. I'm like, if you're following me and this is what it is, then this is how you become an ally. This is how we get. That just wound up being the platform that a lot of athletes kind of took, even like LaToya. It consumed us so much, where we always had to voice Black issues like all the time. Like it was like a daily thing. You really couldn't get away from it. That was pretty much what I was consumed by during the summer. Yeah.
And now,
because of being into sports and stuff, but that was mostly what I was doing last summer.
Indeed. And then as time sort of transitioned into the fall, how did you, what kind of started to happen as COVID-19 time has waned into the fall, and now, of course, we have a new president, thank God. But, now what? I mean,
Well, once we got notice that our meet is back on, that's when I was like, I got to get back in the gym. I got to get to running. Then a friend of mine came to me and was like, hey, why don't we do another Ragnar race? Yeah, because I did a Ragnar race in 27, I believe that was 2017.
Mm-hmm.
It was a group of 12 Muslim women.
Wow.
And we did the road race, and that's 206-mile distance. So all 12 of us had to cover that distance collectively. We ran from Cumberland, Maryland to literally the finish line was at the Navy Pier in Washington, D.C. That was the finish line. So we had to run So that's an exhilarating thing. Yeah. A Ragnar race is fun. That's really fun. Like once you put your team together.
On my bucket list.
Okay. Okay.
Totally on my bucket list of things that I want to do. In an
we're looking for, wait a minute now. So we are looking for one more runner. If you're interested, let me know.
You tell me when the race is, and
it's April.
Oh my God!
Because somebody bailed on us. Yeah, we only need 8 runners. It's going to be held in Virginia.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. It's going to be held in Virginia. And it is a trail race. So it's not a road race. It will be a trail race. It's a lot easier because the distance for us is just 120 miles. And I think that's broken up into, you're running 3 different times, 5 miles each.
That's easy enough.
So that's easy.
Except for the trail park. I don't really
right. So one of those runs will be at night. So you do have to acclimate yourself with kind of getting used to running at night. I think we can have a buddy. I know that, if it's the same way as the road race, you can have a buddy. You can have someone from your team run with you if you're like not comfortable at night. Because I'm not, even you, I'm not real sure about running in the woods.
It's mostly because I'm just not I'm not very graceful, you know what I'm saying? Like I can fall on flat ground for real. Like I can just literally, so let a tree root just, jump up out of nowhere and then that's it. I'm going down. It's gonna be all over.
So it's supposed to be in Richmond, Virginia at the Pocahontas State Park. And it's April 23rd through the 24th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my
goodness. Details.
Okay.
We already registered the team, so even though it says that it's a wait list, because we've registered, so the 8th person is already technically paid for. My friend, she just went ahead and just hurry up and registered because it was like some deal going on. So yeah. If you was to jump in, you have an official spot.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know, right? And then we're trying to do this glamping thing where, oh my gosh, yes. We got tents and food. Yeah. So I'll send you the information.
Okay.
I'm like, how do I get the 8th person? I'm like, I need somebody.
I don't know. And then there was this.
Yes.
And there was this moment.
Yes. Oh gosh.
So tell me about,
my focus just went back to training for this powerlifting meet. Yeah.
Awesome. So are you super excited about powerlifting and just all of that?
Yeah, I am. It's a different world. It's really empowering. It's a different type of empowering than it is with running. With running, that feeling is more of an invigorating feeling. I don't know. I enjoy running, outdoor running. But again, powerlifting makes me feel empowered. It just I like the feeling that I
feel like
yeah,
strong
strong
and powerful and
and
all of
it's goals that you can constantly reach, and you see yourself getting stronger. So you kind of get addicted to that.
yes.
So that's what I like about it. Yeah.
Awesome. 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 So I have two questions, really, two questions. So the first one is if you had advice that you've ever been given, if there's advice that you've ever been given, or if there's advice that you would like to give, and it could be anything, really, it doesn't have to be running advice, it can be anything. What would it be?
The advice that I would like to give is always, this is especially to women. Um, when I say put yourself first, it's not to be in a way where you're disowning and abandoning your family, your kids, or whatever. What we have to realize is what we pour into ourselves, we can give to others. So what I've learned over the years is that you have to, like, this is like an absolute must. You have to put yourself first, and you have to do the things that make you happy and what you enjoy. Because one of the things that happened with me, because I got married so young, and then the children, like I lost myself along the way, like just everything about me, who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I never want to feel that way again, or feel lost like that, or just incomplete.
Mm-hmm.
And the good thing, what I like about the sports that I do, those things did bring back like who I was, and it has empowered me. But my number one thing is like self-care, self-love. I know it's like such a trend to say, and putting yourself first. Like that is like the most important thing that women need to take care of and focus on. Please don't let a man, like, honey.
I
Say it.
agree.
Yeah.
I
You
agree.
have to. You
I
have to
agree.
put yourself first.
I agree. I think that when women hear that, they think that it's like being selfish to put and address their personal needs and issues ahead of the family. But I love what you say, which is that it's not that you're not caring for your family, it's that you're caring for your family in the most ultimate way by
Yeah, when you're
by
your best self.
filling your cup first and then
Right.
making sure that you can pour from your cup once you've had a drink.
Right.
I love that you phrase it in that way, and I wish so much that other women would hear that and live by that standard, especially when because I'm a coach, so I frequently with some of the women that I coach, they're like, they have kids and they're running here and they're running there, and women, especially like in our 40s and 50s, we're caring for parents, and there's this extra layer, and they're like, I never take time for myself at all. And so like when it comes time to go run or do whatever, they don't do it because they're like, I got to do this. But if you just take that 10 minutes out of your day to do the thing that's going to fill up your cup, you'll be so much
And
better off.
that's extremely important, especially for Black women.
Mm.
Like we just drain ourselves out to
Mm.
try to, be so many things other than ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like literally detriment to your health that
I
you
agree.
don't do that.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, so I'm like pro that.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. And then my other question is, you've talked a little bit about having a team of Muslim women and being the first, Muslim woman to do X, Y, or Z. So how important to you is it to be able to represent the community of Muslim women in the world of sports?
It's important because even within the Muslim community, especially the Black Muslim community, um, there's still this stigma of her place, his place, and it's usually just boxed in this parameters of a homebody for the most part. Staying at home and you know, providing for your family. Well, not providing for your family, but you know, just husband and children is the focus. And being at the age that I am, which is 44, I think it's important that it's saying that we can do whatever. Like it's okay that if this is what you want to do, you should do it. If you want to run, if you want to swim, if you want to bike, you want to do Zumba, I just whatever it is, you should have the free reign to do that because that's really what Islam is about. It's not the cultural perception and just how people just distort it with other things. So that's my goal, is to bring an awareness to the community, like this is okay, and then for non-Muslims, for them to see, oh, okay, y'all can do this. It's kind of just like when Ibtihaj, you know, was the first hijabi to do the Olympics with the fencing. You know, a lot of people was backlashing her because of what she was wearing, but that actually propelled where now Nike want to make a hijab for us. Right. You know, so it just, us being out there, putting ourselves out there, that exposure just lets people, it breaks down the stereotypes, the male chauvinistic views that is placed upon women. That's right. In any religion, you know, it's just, that's right. That needs to stop. So that's why, part of why I do what I do.
I love that. I love that. It's breaking, really. I want to
encourage. Yeah.
You're breaking barriers for everyone. Truly, you know, for folks in your own community, within the Black Muslim community, but also for all of the rest of us women who are out here as well. Because definitely, if I see you doing what you do, I can say, well, there's no reason why I can't do what I need to do.
Right.
And it goes back to what you said before, which is that as a woman, it's important to take care of yourself. And just because you're XYZ doesn't mean that you shouldn't have the opportunity to participate in all the things just like everyone else. So
correct. I remember that's when it would like struck a chord with me. We had went to go, this was maybe 2014. Could have been 2014. We went me and a couple other friends, we went on a group run. Jeff Galloway, because they have a training community here. Went on a group run with them and did 11-mile run that day. And when we ended at Fleet Feet shoe store, running shoe store for drinks and everything else, this white lady runner came up with me and she was like, I just want to let you know that you inspired me because you ran the whole 11 miles being covered up like that. And here I am feeling like a failure, drenched, and you're just like cool with it. She was like, that was, seeing me out there was like inspirational to her. So I was like, oh, okay. All right. So
indeed.
Yeah, so that was interesting. When I got that compliment about that, I was like, yeah. Okay. But yeah, it's never been a hindrance or anything. Haven't had any problems with it at all, or anybody trying to counterattack me with or anything. It's been cool so far.
Awesome. So is there anything that you would like to share, tell me, anything I didn't ask that you'd like to just say, boop, there it is?
I don't think so. Okay. I don't want to say something and then I'll be like, she said, other than.
It's all good, Taj. It's all good. Taj, listen, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. Like, I feel like, oh, my heart, your heart. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you for having me. You're the coolest. Of course, we're cool. Of course.
I'd like to take a moment to thank Taj for joining me on the show today. It was a great conversation. I really enjoyed listening to and hearing about your journey to becoming a Muslim during your teen years and your journey to becoming an athlete. You are a well rounded athlete participating in so many aspects of sports and movement. If you, my dear listeners, would like more information about Taj and how to connect with her and learn more about what she's doing, I'll put information about how to connect with her in the show notes. Remember that you can listen to the Last 10th podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor.fm, and so many more platforms. Don't forget to leave your positive review on Apple Podcasts. Every time that we get positive feedback, likes, and comments on Apple Podcasts, it helps other people find and enjoy the Last 10th podcast. For now, I am your host, Coach Pilar Arthur Sneed. Thanks so much for joining me here. I'll see you here back next week for another episode of The Last 10th.